Chris from KiteX here. Today I'd like to show you how to put up your wind catcher. So let's get to it. Let's take a look inside the bags. I've already unzipped this one. Here we have the blades and we have the tower. And in the other bag we have the generator and we also have all the accessories. So for this video that we are shooting here, it's a good idea to use the manual for notes. Look into that one. There's some QR codes you can scan. You can also take this video and you can go into the sections. It's divided into sections. You can press the links so you can go to the chapter that you just want to shoot, that you are at. So you can go back and forth in between the steps. So that's a good idea to use that. In the back here, we have the generator. We have the ground station. We have the ground anchors. We have carabiners, guy lines, and the adjustment belts for the tower. Then we have a foot plate for the tower that the tower stands on. I have a few accessories down here as well. We got our clickers, carabiners, moment transfer arms, and last but not least, we have the ratchet wrench for the ground anchors, which is the first thing that I'm gonna use. And we also have a few extra cables and stuff that you want to plug it in, that you can use when you plug it into your battery solution. So let's get to it. The first thing I'm gonna get is I want to lay out the ground anchors. For that, I'm gonna use the anchors, the ratchet tool, the foot plate, and then I'm gonna steal the setup leg from the tower. We're gonna use that as a guide. So I'll just untwist it. Take it out of the tower, and I'm gonna use that to measure. I'm gonna find a suitable location for the tower. So I want enough space around me that I can lay the tower down into all directions. So you want 4 meters in that direction, 4 meters in that direction, and also in the other directions. This is a good place for the tower foot. So I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna twist it a little bit into the ground. If you come closer and have a look, there's a really neat thing by the plate. On the plate, we have written some instructions. The first thing is that we want to have the ground anchors 90 degrees apart, and for that we use the cross that you can see here. We use that as a guide to have them in the right angle and orientation. Then we use the setup leg, which is this one, and I will just lay it near the cross and lay that down, and that gives me the distance as well to where I want to place my first anchor. I'll take my anchor, take the ratchet wrench, and then I want to have a little bit of an angle on my anchor here, going towards the tower. You should imagine it should hit the tower top. And then I install that. I leave a little bit up from the top. Great. I'll put the stick back to the tower as to not step on it. Next up, we'll install the belts, the carabiners, and the guy lines. So you want to install the belts onto the anchors. For this, we'll install the belts first. I've already looped it inside. The best way to do this is find where the stitches are, or the KiteX logo, and then you want to make this P shape where you come in, grab the logo, and make this self-tightening loop. You put that over the anchor. And that's not gonna fall off. I also want to test my anchor. So for this, I'll grab my carabiner. We need to install it on the belt anyway. Clip that in. Then I will take the clicker tool. You will have 2 of them in the kit. There's one for 80 kilos, which is this many pounds, and there's one for 30 kilos, which is this many pounds. You need to use the 80 kilo one in this test. So I'll click that in, the carabiner. For this test, it's a really good idea to take your ratchet handle. I need to adjust the length of the belt so I'm at a comfortable position. 80 kilos is a lot to pull, so I'll adjust it to where my arms are stretched and I can pull it. What I'll do is I'll take this small leg here and I'll push that down and over this furthest tab, this curve going on it. Take the ratchet handle, find a nice comfortable grip. I like to place 1 foot near the anchor, 1 foot behind me, so I have a good stance. Stretch my arms, and then I will lean back until it clicks. And then I know that my anchor can take 80 kilos. Last, you want to install your guy line, and I just hook that into the carabiner. And let's repeat it for the other anchors as well. Okay, next step is assemble the tower. I will put in the end in this flex joint here, so that's flexible, supposed to move. I'll come up to the other end, and then I need to find the tower lines. And these are usually wound up here. Take them out. I like to take the setup leg and push it down. So I'll just press in on it and snap it down there. Gives me a little bit more room to work up here. I lay the tower and then I'll take 1 line at a time. So I'll take the one to my right. And let's place that over here to the right. I'll take the one to my left. And place that over here to my left. And lastly, last line, I'll take that and install it right away. Come down to the foot. This can rotate, so just choose a hole, stick it through and loop it over, and that's it. Next step, I'll come up and take the tower arm up here. I'll twist that loose and then I can push it up and out. I'll install that and then I can loop the line over and then I can lock it like this. I'll just twist it in place so the line cannot fall out. We'll do that for the other line. And for the last line, I'll flip the tower over completely. And this is the most important step. This is where you tension up the tower. So this is a little bit like tensioning up a bow or something like this. I like to grab it like this and then I push it up and snap the line in and lock it in place. If you feel like tensing the lines with your hands is a little bit hard on the hand, you could use one of your carabiner as a handle to tension it up. I'll just take it in like this, grab it and push it over. That's a way to save a little bit on your hands. Now I have my tower completely assembled. And we need to install the guy lines. You want a lot of tension in the lines. So when you flick them, I don't know if you can hear this on my microphone, they should make an audible tone. That's important. So let's place it here and install the lines. Let's install the tower. We need to attach the guy lines to the tower. So let's grab a line. We can grab any one. And then we have made a number system up here. So we have marked number 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll take this one as my number 1. On this tower there is again a small hole, which is this side, and then we have a larger hole, which is this side. So you want to come in through the large hole on the number 1, stick that over and loop it in, and like so. So that sits there. That was my line number 1. Then I want to come in a clockwise position. So I want to just follow the clockwise direction and take the next line. So that's when I started over here, that's gonna be this one. So I'll grab that one. I will find number 2. Come in from down below. Loop that over. And let's do the last 2. Now you're at this step, we want to raise the tower up, and we might need to adjust the belts as we go. So what I'll do is I'll just take the tower and put it up as good as I can. And I can already see my lines are way too short on this side over here. So let's loosen those. Take the belts and give it a good distance. Let's try again. Much better. These are also a little bit too taut at the moment. Don't worry about the position of the tower just yet. You want to be able to place it on the footplate, which is here. So now it's loose enough that I can go and place it. And important step is to put the cable inside of the slot that we have here and place that on top of it. This way you don't damage your cable. So now we got it placed, and now we want to have it go vertical, or we want to position it vertically. So I can already see that I need more tension in this one. Strap that in. And I like to have an arm on it and push a little bit against it. It looks about right. This one is not. This one is to give this a little bit more. Lastly, I just want to have a lot of tension on the tower. So here, you want to have this really taut line here. The last check is you want to check that you have a good distance for your ground anchors to the arms so that the tower can rotate all the way around. You want to look up at the top that the lines are not tangled up there. But if you use the numbering system and done it clockwise, then you should have no trouble with it. The next step, we need to lay the tower downwind. In this step it's important to note the wind direction because when you drag it up again, the turbine, it has to come up in the right orientation, otherwise it can be a little bit dangerous. So I'll note the wind orientation up there, and then it's blowing in that direction. So I know that I want to lay my tower downwind in this position. So first, loosen the setup leg so that can swing freely. Then I'll take one guy line to the side and loosen that quite a bit. And then I will take my upwind guy line and I will loosen that also quite a bit. And so much that I can easily get the carabiner out. I will clip the carabiner off the belt and use the carabiner as a handle. I like to step in, or this is an important step, step in with my foot onto the tower plate so it cannot fall backwards. And then I just let the tower fall while holding on to the guy line and placing it down. Now I have a really good working position that is stable. I have tension on this guy line. I can see there's tension on the other guy line. And that gives me up here, it gives me a really solid place to work. It won't fall to one of the other sides. If you need to, you can adjust the leg position a little bit, or you can drag it to one side, or you might need to adjust one of these lines. Next up, we need to put the boom onto the tower. At the moment it's a little bit high for me, so I like to lower it down a little bit. Take this one, snip that in place. Now I can much better work up here. I'll get my boom, and I need to mount the boom on the tower node, which is this one. I need to mount that up here. So I loosen the cam lock, and then I'll place it. Now we have the boom set in place. So I'll grab the moment transfer arms, which are these ones. And they go in the slots here. So they can be a little bit tricky to get in. Put them in and twist them to lock it. Now I have my moment transfer arms in. It's time to get the blades on. It's a good idea to take one of the arms and have that point downwards in this direction, so you have the blades in the right orientation. For the blades to clear the ground, I'd like to take and lift the tower up once again to have it a little bit further up. So let's just take one blade at a time. So here you have the blade, and we got nice and matching color coding for everything, which is important to stick to. So the first step is to take the lines and wind those, untwist them from where they are, like so. Then I will find the best orientation, match the colors. So the green one, the green blades goes in here, and this does not have to be overly tight. This is enough. I like to start with the white lines. I take there's two white lines. This is the most tricky ones. So I'll grab them, untangle them a little bit, and then you have the blade between the moment transfer arms. So you will have the blade going between them. So you take one line to this one and another line to that one. So let's see how that works. So what I'll do is I will come up here. My blade is inside of between these two, so I'll go to this one, in through the big hole, and coming out of the other side, and I loop it over. And that's that. And again here, the bigger hole is on this side, but I'll come out through the small hole and loop that over, and that's it. Then what I will need to do is the other lines. I have a green one because it's the green blade, and a gray one. And the gray one we take to the gray trim spinner or pitch spinner up here, in through the large hole, which is on the bottom side, and over here. And then we have the green one. So at the moment the color does not match, so I just spin it around. So I have the green one, in through the large one, and over. And then I'm left with the blue line, and that goes to the next blade. But let's just mount the other blades. Now I have all the lines for the blades attached except of the blue ones. So that's the last step. This can be a little bit tricky if you don't have the blade spinner on the middle of the boom. So I like to take this one and move it up to roughly the middle position of these two. Then the lines get a little bit looser and I can easily move the lines around. So let me get a blue line from the blade over here. I'll take that one and connect it to the other blue piece. There is a large hole up here. I go in through that one. I loop it over and tension it. And then I can take the next blue line. I can take it up to my other blade. In through it. And over. And lastly, my last blue line. Now we want to tension the lines. So I take my blade spinner here and then I slide that down the boom. When I do this, the blades can get caught a little bit on the ground, so you can move them a little bit about. And I want this one as far up as possible, so I can loosen the handle here to bring that all the way up, and then I can bring this one all the way down. When I'm in this position, it's a good idea to look if you have any tangled lines. So I look all around and I can see over here I have a single line that has sort of been caught. So I'll just free that one, so it's free from that one. Otherwise it can be a little bit tricky to tension everything up. So now we have this spinner here. I like to place my fingers around it, a few on the top and one on the bottom, and then I can push it together with my hands like this, and then I can thread this one onto the piece down here. And this does not have to be tight, it just has to go all the way down. Now we are set. Take a look around again. Do we have any lines that are tangled? I don't. Then I take my handle and then I wind the lines all the way down. That's almost to the end. I can flip the handle up, snap that in place. Then I can take a look around on my lines. And now we have nice tension on our lines. Don't know if you can hear this. This is nice. There's a few final checks we do to the lines. The most important and first one is I'll check my pitch spinners. These are the ones that control the blades. So I'll want to check that they can move freely together and all the way up. And as you can see, the blades, as I do this, then the blades turn. This is the most important feature of the wind catcher. So it's important that this motion glides smoothly back and forth. But that's the check. Now we put on all the blades and I'm gonna show you how to raise the tower if you are just yourself. So the most important thing here is that you place your foot on the end of the tower, on the tower foot. So I take my own foot and place it here. And that's important when you raise it up, that so it does not slide this way and the whole thing falls down to the ground. I'll have my foot, I'll get a good position. I use the carabiner as a handle and I have my other hand on the guy line, and then I just slowly raise it up to a position like this. Then it's fine to step away. I still have everything under control. With one hand I can hold the whole thing, just keep this one taut. Snip it into the carabiner. I also want to take the base of the tower and place the cable into the slot on the footplate. Last thing, we tension up the belts, so we have the tower again in a vertical position. Give it some good tension. And I like to clip the setup leg into its spot so that does not wither about in the wind. Now we have the turbine up. Let's plug in the cable, plug in the ground controller unit, and turn the turbine on. So plug in the cables. I have 2 extension cables here. And before we connect the turbine to the box, we need to configure this box to the correct output so it's compatible with our EcoFlow Delta 2 unit that we have here that we're going to show now. So before we connect it, let's just configure this box. What I will need to do is I'll turn on the box. Great. And then on the back side, I have my connectors. For these type of power station units, then we need to pre-charge the ground unit here, so the turbine knows that now it has power, so it can communicate with the battery in here to be able to deliver the power. So I'll connect the 12 volt pre-charge cable and turn that on. And then while I'm on the back side of it, I might as well put in the output for the turbine. Good. Now I should have power in my box here. So I can see that it's currently drawing 2 watts. And I can also see that there's a small LED light in here. So that's perfect. What I'll do next is I need to turn on the app for this one. So I'll navigate by pressing the action button to the Wi-Fi page. I'll long press this one so the bar goes up. And then my Wi-Fi is on the box. Then I'll get my phone out. And on my phone, I'll go to my Wi-Fi. So on my Wi-Fi list, I have this VC ground, which is the station here. I'll connect to that one. The password is morepower. And that prompts me this sign in, which I'll accept. And then what I need to choose is I'll choose a power station, because this is a power station. We have the EcoFlow here. And then I'm gonna choose the Delta 2 unit. That gives me some settings, which I know are correct for this unit, but you really need to be careful when connecting it to your own unit. Read the label on it to see that you don't burn anything down. So I'll activate those settings, and that's actually it. Then I can close it. Then we are ready to connect the turbine. So we get the turbine end, and we'll connect that. Again, I'll get my phone, and this should prompt me a wind catcher unit. I'll sign into that. Again, the password is morepower. That gives me this window, and then I'm ready to actually start harnessing the power. So let's do that. Let's press start. It's gonna beep a few times to let me know that it's starting now. And then hopefully, if we have enough wind, it should pick up, and we will make some power. In here on the interface, just have a cool little thing to show you. You can see the live graph of the turbine. It estimates the, you can see a 60-second view of the power, and also it estimates the wind speed that you are currently at. So over to the right, we have the wind speed estimate. Now it's dropping a little bit under 4 meters per second. And then we have the power, that's the one over here, and the red curve, and that's around 100 watts at the moment. You can also tell up here by the screen on the EcoFlow that it's sucking in 130 watts, something like that. So that's pretty cool. All right, we're out here. We have been out here for a few hours, making some decent power. We have almost filled up the station, so it's time to pack up and head home. I have the app here, so we'll just press the stop button, and then the turbine should stop. So it comes to a halt, and now it's ready to be taken down. So let me just show you how to bring the turbine down safely. First things, we want to land the turbine. It's pretty windy. Detention one side, detention the other. Turn. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to time it with the blade as I lower it. So, and the further I have it to the ground, the easier it is. Oh, and there we go. All right. Next up, we'll detension the lines. And we'll start taking the strings off. When I have a completely loose blade, I like to take all the lines. I'll just grab all of them, and then I like to wrap them on the pitch rod here. So I'll just take all of them, and then I do figure eights. This is the best way to store them where they don't tangle. Just go over like this. And that's how you store the lines. I'll put it back in this sheath, and then I'll do the other blades. That was the blades. Let me take the moment arms out. I'll grab the cable, the cam lock. Remember not to store this with a tight cam lock. That can deform the plastic a little bit, so store it loosely. That's the best way. Throw that in the back. I might as well get my handle out. Next up, we'll just take the guy lines off and dismantle the tower. Taking the tower down is easy. We can loosen the two guy lines that are already loose. Take that away, take the other one away. And then what I like to do is I like to just lift up off the tower and bring that in like this. Then I can remove the other two guy lines. Bring the handle up to the storage position. Have that in place. Take the tension out of the tower. Remove the lines from the foot. We can break it in two already. Is I'll take all my lines. And we again do figure eights here on this one over this one. And just wrap the last thing around. Now it's ready to go in the back. Remember your foot plates. That's one back. Let's get the anchoring. What I prefer to do when taking the belts off is that I will loosen the belt and take that off the anchor. Then I like to grab at the carabiner, just get the belt, and then I sort of flip this on itself just a few times. So I got all the belt material up there. Take the carabiner and the string, and then I like to twist this around it. It's not super long. In this way I have a really neat pack with carabiner, belt and guy line that is ready for rapid deployment next time. Throw that in the back and get the rest. We're ready to throw it in the car and go on to the next adventure. See you!